First of all, it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to talk to you. You can see I'm smiling from, one end to another. So yeah, and
Thank you.
I absolutely loved your performance in Hisaab Barabar. It's always a pleasure to see you on screen because
Thank you.
we've grown up watching you. So I know you're never I don't think I've ever seen like a bad movie of yours.
Oh,
So
that's saying a lot.
no, it's true. It's true. Even Tamil movies, like I've actually enjoyed a lot
Yeah,
of the Tamil movies as well. So these are my questions for you, sir.
sure.
There's a lot of content or cinema being made on scams, financial scams. We had Lucky Bhaskar a few months back, and also we had the very famous the scam 1992. So, how different do you think is Hisab Barabar from these two cinemas?
You know, here it's a question of a man, a single common man taking on an entire system, and how, if it's possible for a common man to change the world around him to such a great extent that the whole dynasty breaks. This is not the story of either scam or of, Lucky Bhaskar. They were creating the scams. This guy is trying to solve it. Secondly, history is testimony to the fact that many nations were brought down to their knees when they decided to get in the way of the common man with his common requirements and beliefs. All he wants is a happy family to get his children educated properly. He wants his daughter to get married in a nice way and settle down. He wants his son to follow his profession, make himself independent. He wants to retire close to his family and then choose his places of worship and live with a little bit of dignity and money and good health. The moment administration, a kingdom, a man, or a government gets in the way of this common man's ability to achieve it, he brings down the entire dynasty. It's happened from the Roman Empire to the French Revolution to the European, all wars, everything, including India taking away the Britishers with non-violence. And so Radhe Mohan is also exactly that kind of a guy. His identity is in the fact that he loves numbers and he prides himself on the fact that he's good with accounting. So when he goes to the bank to check out and see why there's a discrepancy between his accounting and the system's accounting, they end up insulting him and making a fool of him. And that he takes very personally. And how, because of that insult, he brings down the entire system is what the story was, which is what I liked a lot because I myself am confused about the messages I get from my bank. I do not know what to believe, what not to believe. I'm sure you don't know exactly how much money you have in your account right now.
That's so
None of
true.
my, yeah, because earlier on there was a passbook, so I knew at any given point in time exactly how much money there was because it was written physically. Now I check the account in the morning and in the afternoon there are two different numbers. So it made me feel out of control. So when this story came to me, I thought I should do it so that you know, hopefully there's a way in which people can feel more secure about their digital banking and accounting.
Very nicely put, sir.
Mm.
Also, Hisab Barabar as a movie, why do you think it would work on OTT and not on the big screen, the silver screen?
Uh, you have to be very careful on the medium in which you're telling a story. If you take series like Breathe and decide to make a movie, it won't work because you need that much time to establish the characters and the story. Similarly, if you take a small movie and try to make it into a 8 episode web series, it's not going to work. It just doesn't have the content to do that. Similarly, some movies are made for large screens. They have the grandeur of a large screen. They have the ability to, portray dynamism through the largeness of the screen. But Railwayman had to be done on a small screen. Similarly, this is a story that has to reach out instantaneously to the masses, and they have to be able to see it whenever they want to from the very beginning. Which is why, in the interest of reaching out to the maximum number of people, so that they can see it at their leisure, at their home, they don't have to make an effort to go to the theaters because this isn't that kind of a film. Is why I chose this to be an OTT film.
So in this movie, in Hisab Barabar, you're playing an introvert and sort of an antisocial individual who is often misunderstood, and how important do you think it is, to make movies on characters like Radhe Mohan, who are academically strong and who want to help, people? Because usually
Like we, s-
in a lot of, if you see Friends, like the old show, like Ross is always ridiculed for being smart because he's one of the most educated guys in the group. So why do you think such movies or movies on such characters should be made without demeaning?
because that is a representation of the new India and the new Indians. Around the world, I'm sure you've seen how people's image about Indians has changed in the last decade or so. From being considered just goofy guys who are good doctors and lawyers and taxi drivers, now we're ruling the roost with people being in some very high-end positions in different governments around the world and being so influential that they have the ability to change the world the way it thinks. For an Indian to be considered educated is a foregone conclusion. For an Indian to be considered socially aware is a foregone conclusion. For him to be considered as a good citizen and somebody who contributes positively to his society wherever he is, no matter which country, is also a foregone conclusion. Unfortunately, with that comes civic sense and civic duty, as well as, social things, which I think somewhere we need to improve on, because this empowerment also gives you a responsibility for you to make sure that you are aware of the kind of powers that this country wields, and you take it up with the right sense, because to be a first-class country and a nation, it's not just the economy and the industry, but it's also the citizens that make it that, and we have to be one of those citizens.
So, regarding like you and your career over the last 3 decades, I'm guessing. So you're the OG Pan India star because you're the first actor who has you were like you're still popular, very popular in Tamil cinema also, and you're equally popular in Hindi cinema also. So how different do you think is the work culture, and also do you think Pan India is like right now is a kind of overused term? Do you feel?
You know what? I think I am not just the original, but I'm also the only pan-India actor, because one has to understand what it really means. I'm not a South Indian guy who grew up in south of India and trying to make myself in the north, because the north is a very big place. There are seven different types of Hindi. So if you're playing
True.
a North Indian character, you've got to know what Hindi to speak. So people have come and they've done a good job with moving the masses as far as their one film or two films are concerned. But to be accepted completely as a Hindi actor, you have to make sure that you bring out the nuances of all these towns and villages that you're used to living in. Similarly, I'm a South Indian. I was born and brought up in North, but I'm a South Indian, so that culture lives with me directly. So both these cultures are an integral part of my upbringing, and therefore it's easy for me to portray it from a Tanu it's Manu to a Shaitan, or to Anbe Sevam or Kanatal Mutamita, which is why I think I have an advantage. I want people with this ability to try and become pan-India actors, because there are so many more opportunities when you know the lingo. The other actor
True.
that I know who speaks all as fluently Hindi as he speaks Tamil is Siddharth, for instance.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and there are very few like that. I don't think Kamal
Yeah.
sir or Rajini sir will fall in that category. They're very, very good actors, but their ability to portray a common Hindi man is going to be very difficult.
The
And
transition is a
sim
little difficult.
Yeah, because the accent will have a sense of their background very clearly. So
Yeah.
I have that advantage, and I intend to use it for the rest of my life.
So Hisaab Barabar has a very good cast. And how was your experience working with Kirti Kulhari and Neil Nitin Mukesh? How was
Both Kirti and Neil have been a pleasure and a dream to work with. They are very accomplished actors. We are mutual admirers of each other's work. And when you come onto the set as a villain or as a this thing, you're always trying to see how you're positioned for the film. And Neil had none of those insecurities. He was so cooperative, and he knew his lines. He was so open to manipulation of the dialogue delivery. That was a sheer pleasure to work with the likes of him. And he's going to be recognized for this film in a big way. Kirti is a charming lady and very good performer, and a great dialogue delivery. And so to portray an age-appropriate romance with her became easy, because at our age to portray romance and not feel queasy about it is very difficult. Which is thankfully to the director's credit and as well as Kirti, it became easy for us.
So these are my questions for you. And like I said in the beginning, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you. I'm Smriti. I'm a journalist with DM Talkies, and thank you so much for your time. And I really look forward. I really enjoyed your performance in Hisab Barabar.
You're very kind, Kirti. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful 2025, and I'll see you sooner than later.
Oh, thank you, sir. Happy New Year to you too. Thank you.
Okay, all the
Thank
best.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.